Keep your friends close and enemies closer. Not for Beyonce. She needs to keep a closer eye on her inner circle because they have betrayed her by spreading evil lies. Thank you, Beyonce. And no, I'm not thanking her, but many celebrities have, and there's a bizarre theory around why. It's alleged that one of the closest people in her inner circle started this theory, and while we are still uncertain if there's any truth to it, it certainly is worth digging into. What started out as a conspiracy theory is now a trend that has everyone on social media thanking Beyonce. This all began when social media users noticed an unusual trend in celebrity artists thanking Beyonce in their acceptance speeches after being nominated for major awards. Although the artists did not collaborate with Beyonce or work with her in any way to create the awarded projects, the many artists still use their acceptance speeches as a moment to express their admiration and high regard for the singer. This has occurred particularly at the Grammy Awards. So in 2017, English singer-songwriter Adele thanked Beyonce when accepting the award for Album of the Year. Adele did not feel deserving of the award, as she acknowledged that Beyonce's album, titled Lemonade, was also nominated in the same category. Adele said during her acceptance speech, "I can't possibly accept this award, and I'm very humbled, and I'm very grateful and gracious, but the artist of my life is Beyonce." This occurred again in 2023 when American rapper and singer Lizzo thanked Beyonce after winning Record of the Year. At the time, Beyonce's song titled Break My Soul was also nominated in the same category. During her speech, Lizzo reflected on her first Destiny's Child concert and how she was enamored by Beyonce's vocals. Lizzo expressed, "I was I want to make people feel this way with my music, so thank you so much." Beyonce has also been acknowledged on various award stages by celebrities like Megan Thee Stallion, Lady Gaga, and Britney Spears. These harmless acceptance speeches are now being interpreted as a negative narrative towards Beyonce, questioning her character and, her prominent role in the music industry. It is challenging to identify exactly why the public has sought this reaction, though conspiracy theorists believe celebrities praise Beyonce in their acceptance speeches because they understand her immense influence over the music industry and wish to remain successful in the public eye. One source said this conspiracy theory started with the passing of Aaliyah, who is the queen of urban pop who redefined contemporary R&B in the 1990s. Some people argue that her passing gave Beyonce the space to become the icon that she is today. In J. Cole's 2013 song She Knows, he mentions Aaliyah's passing. Now, some of the more deranged and unhinged TikTok users connect that song with Beyonce's friendship with P. Diddy, who has been at the center of conspiracy theories connected to Aaliyah's passing for years. The theory goes like this: thank Beyonce or face the consequences. Celebrities do tend to thank Beyonce a lot. Now, Kanye, rushed the stage when Taylor Swift beat Beyonce for Album of the Year. The list honestly goes on and on and on. The celebrity thanking has reached TikTok, of course, where users are thanking Beyonce at Thanksgiving, or for their dog not having cancer, or literally for nothing. So the question is, have you thanked Beyonce today? Is Beyonce to blame for Liam Payne's passing? One source close to the singer has spread this crazy theory. Following the unexpected passing of Liam Payne, a new theory has emerged, implicating none other than Beyonce, Jay-Z, and P. Diddy. Now imagine the worldwide shock if any of this turned out to be true. Fans in the music industry are still shocked by the news of Liam Payne's passing. Although details, still remain kind of unclear, the coroner has already ruled out foul play for the former One Direction singer. But in the wake of his passing, fans began theorizing what might have happened, and one theory suggests that Beyonce was seen staying in the same hotel where Payne tragically fell from a third-floor balcony. On its own, this fact might seem insignificant, but social media detectives have supposedly found countless other connections between Payne's passing and Beyonce. In a past video, Payne is reported to have warned others to ignore Beyonce, even implying that she was dangerous. Payne also openly expressed a less than friendly view of P. Diddy, describing his smile and laughter as devilish and his presence as very unpleasant. Now, supporters of these theories believe that Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Diddy are just so powerful in the music world, that nearly every award show features celebrities, again, like I just spoke about, thanking Beyonce for their success, fearful of the supposed consequences of doing otherwise. Now, the suggestion is that, the lack of respect for the trio could mean career-ending repercussions. Now, while these theories might seem, outrageous, the internet is filled with those who find meaning in them. Conspiracy theories fulfill a certain, psychological need, even though the most far-fetched ideas lack evidence. Social media algorithms, boost emotionally charged stories, making it easier than ever to just spread these theories. The theory, though, may not add up because, first and foremost, neither Beyonce nor Liam Payne has publicly, in the past or now for Beyonce, even indicated any connection that would lend credibility to these claims. Okay, Beyonce's career has focused on, of course, creating music, empowering messages, maintaining a positive image, and, of course, her social justice work. Meanwhile, Payne, as a former member of One Direction, has navigated his own path, post, boy band, encountering personal challenges, like any other high-profile celebrity might. The idea that there would be any, antagonism or hidden influence between them is unfounded, so take this all in, of course, with a grain of salt and come up with your own conclusion. Either way, rest in peace, Liam. Few theories to share with former Hills stars Spencer and Heidi Pratt about Beyonce and Jay-Z on an episode of the couple's Make Spidey Famous Again podcast. Now, Rose said she suspects Gwyneth Paltrow is Jay-Z's alleged mistress, who Beyonce dubbed Becky with the good hair on Lemonade. On the infamous Lemonade track, Sorry, Beyonce sings, "He only want me when I'm not there, he better call Becky with the good hair." The lyrics have been a mega mystery ever since, as fans have wondered, who could dare step between Jay and Bey. Now, a lot of speculation surrounded fashion designer Rachel Roy, who even captioned a now deleted Instagram post, "Good hair don't care," after Lemonade was released. But Rose has a different theory. She speculated on the podcast, saying that she definitely thinks that Gwyneth Paltrow is Becky with the good hair, and she feels like, she's the one who was sleeping with Jay-Z. Rose, who doesn't actually have investigative proof on the situation, explained her theory, saying the once public friendship between Paltrow and Beyonce seems to have hit a lull, since Sorry came out and was released shortly after the Goop CEO and Coldplay singer Chris Martin announced their divorce. Now, Rose thinks the timing all makes sense. Amber continued to say they were like friends, and then, you don't see Gwyneth Paltrow and Beyonce anymore, but Beyonce's still with Jay. Though she admitted that she doesn't actually know if Paltrow and Jay-Z ever had an affair, Rose noted, "I'm surprised no one has thought of this." Rose is correct when she says that the pair of, A-listers did appear to, boast a close relationship in the past, and that they haven't hit red carpet worthy events together for some time. As Paltrow shared with Ellen DeGeneres on the Comedian's Talk Show in 2010, she and Beyonce actually met at a charity event sometime in the 2000s. She actually said to Ellen, "We just kind of hooked up, hit it off, and became really close friends." Paltrow has apparently been good friends with Beyonce and Jay-Z for years, calling the two some the greatest people ever during a 2015 radio interview on the Howard Stern show. She added at that time, "They are funny and sweet and self-aware and really intelligent." As for the cheating allegations, Paltrow's rep said it is completely absurd and 100% false. Beyonce and Jay-Z reportedly separated for a year in 2005, as revealed in the 2015 biography Becoming Beyonce by J. Randy Taraborelli. He suggested that the split coincided with Jay's scouting of Rihanna, sparking rumors of a supposed affair. Now, speaking to Entertainment Tonight at the time, Taraborelli said Beyonce didn't know what to make of this, and it actually ended up breaking them up for a time. They spent maybe a year apart from each other because Beyonce just wasn't sure what to make of the situation with Rihanna. Now, in a candid chat with BBC's Newsbeat, Taraborelli defended his bombshell claims despite not speaking directly with Beyonce for his book. He said, "Well, my job as a biographer is to take a look at, all of the persistent rumors and see if it is possible to unpack them. We found the publicist who was working for one of Rihanna's producers. His job was to promote Rihanna's first single, Pon de Replay. He went on to expose a manufactured scandal, saying in that capacity he began to float the untrue story story that Rihanna and Jay were having an affair. This was not true. We interviewed him and he confessed that he planted the story in an effort to promote Rihanna. Now, further shedding light on this web of deception, the former publicist Jonathan Hay confirmed Tara Borelli's story, offering apologies to music power couple Jay-Z and Beyonce after spreading, the false information. Despite safeguarding the identity of those who provided insights, Tara Borelli notes his sources have nothing to gain by talking to him, and often, they had a lot to lose, also claiming that it was people in Beyonce's inner circle that corroborated these claims and provided him more insight. So, the shade of that all, right? Now, the author elaborated on his credibility, saying, "This is my 18th book. I've had like 14 bestsellers, so, me and my research team, we really have sort of like a gut for this work. I can tell when somebody is being honest. Everybody is interviewed and re-interviewed, and then their stories are compared with other stories of people who are in the same situations. So we really do a lot of work to corroborate everything that we hear." Now, despite allegations of a split, neither Jay-Z nor Beyonce have, of course, made any public remarks on this. In 2016, Beyonce faced backlash for her music video Formation, which featured African-American cultural symbols and imagery. Critics accused Beyonce of profiting from Black culture without properly understanding or respecting its history and significance. For example, writer and activist Rachel Kadizi Gonse, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, wrote an essay criticizing Beyonce for her use of African-American cultural symbols, stating, "Beyonce's Formation is a masterclass in how to take Black cultural production and turn it into a product that can be sold to white people." Another notable instance is also seen in the music video Hymns for the Weekend by Beyonce and Coldplay. Although it is a great and catchy song to many, we have seen multiple scenes in the music video of culture being used as entertainment and accessories. In the video, we see Hindu temples, Indian people, Indian civilization, meditation being done, festivals celebrated, and a Hindu god. The music video overall has a variety of positive Indian culture shown, but what makes this music video debatable is the fact that Beyonce is using the Indian clothes as accessories, even though she is not Indian herself. What could have had, this music video be less debatable is if Coldplay collaborated with an Indian singer who knows about her culture and the clothing she was wearing. If this Indian singer would have replaced Beyonce, then she would have known that hennas are not from Indian culture. This already provides, a lack of knowledge that the artist has on the culture itself, which can be seen as disrespectful to many, especially in the Indian culture. As said before, Indians have a strong, respected foundation for their ancestors and their heritage. In the video, the person who is grabbing all of the attention from the viewers is Beyonce herself. There are Indian women there that could have stolen the spotlight, but we see how this cultural appropriation comes into the picture when Beyonce uses the best jewelry and clothing for the public, just as how the Kardashian uses, Black culture to show themselves off, but that's a topic for another time. Next, feminism and hypocrisy. Beyonce has been accused of hypocrisy for her feminist stance, with some critics arguing that her music and performances often objectify women and perpetuate patriarchal values. For instance, in 2013, Beyonce performed at the Super Bowl halftime show where she sang and danced in a very revealing costume, sparking criticism from some feminists who argued that her performance was contradictory to her feminist ideals. Writer and feminist Bell Hooks criticized Beyonce for her feminist stance, stating, "Beyonce's feminism is not about ending patriarchy. It's about getting a bigger piece of the pie." Bell Hooks criticized Beyonce's feminism and image, arguing that, while she uses her platform to discuss Black female pain, her approach is narrow and simplistic, focusing on gaining power within existing structures rather than actually dismantling them, and that her image can be seen as perpetuating harmful stereotypes. Some people did come to Beyonce's defense, and one person on social media said, "I felt like she was criticizing Beyonce because her preferred method of self-expression in Lemonade didn't actually jive with Hook's idea of what feminism is." Another person said, "How can she determine whether or not one's method of healing is inadequate? It's Beyonce's narrative. She can resolve it how she wishes. I see it as another version of Piers Morgan's, issues with the album, which I interpreted as, I'd like it better if you expressed yourself in a way that is more my taste." It's almost as if she's implying the only feminist way of moving beyond the hurt and betrayal is if Beyonce were to divorce or abandon her husband. Now, in my opinion, I think Bell Hooks had some very fair points, but I also think she criticized Beyonce so much because that's what sold her books. She has gone on record saying, though, she recognizes that she can be critical of Beyonce, yet also does appreciate aspects of her power and representation. Beyonce has faced criticism for her involvement in the Black Lives Matter movement and her position association with activism, with some critics arguing that her activism is superficial and self-serving. In 2016, Beyonce performed at the BET Awards where she and her dancers wore Black Panther-inspired costumes, sparking criticism from some activists who argued that her performance was a form of cultural appropriation and that she was using the movement for her own gain. Beyonce's dancers wore black leather, afros, and berets, which some saw as a direct reference to the Black Panther Party, which was a 1960s black nationalist organization known for its revolutionary stance and focus on community empowerment and self-defense. The song Formation, released before the Super Bowl, was seen as a powerful anthem about black identity, resilience, and resistance, further fueling the perception of the performance as a political statement. Many conservatives, law enforcement organizations, and social media users criticized the performance and the song, viewing them as anti-police, anti-American, and anti-white, particularly due to references to police executions of unarmed black men and the song's overall tone of defiance. The performance and the song generated a very strong backlash, with some calling for a boycott of Beyonce and others defending her right to express her views and celebrate her heritage. Activist and writer Kevin Powell criticized Beyonce for her activism, stating, "Beyonce's version of activism is more about branding and marketing than actual movement building." Her personal life and relationships, Beyonce's personal life and relationships, have also been subject to criticism and scrutiny, of course. In 2014, Beyonce's sister Solange Knowles physically attacked Jay-Z in an elevator, sparking criticism and speculation about the state of their marriage. Some critics have also accused Beyonce of using her personal life and relationships as just a marketing tool, with some arguing that her music and performances often kind of blur the lines between, her personal and public life. In this day and age, so many scandals come and go with the wind. Very few have real staying power in the microwave nature of social media. However, Elevator Gate happened at a time when everything was magnified, and this drama remained the subject of conversations and memes for weeks and months and years leading up to the release of her album Lemonade, which dropped in April of 2016. One song on the album, Sorry, was particularly casting light of what we knew about the tension between Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Solange. It was widely speculated that the elevator fight was actually down to Solange confronting Jay about his alleged cheating, and Sorry only fueled the rumors to a very stunning degree. Beyonce sings in the outro, coining an iconic pop culture term, "He only want me when I'm not there, he better call Becky with the good hair." But for years, and to this day, who is Becky with the good hair? It must surely be one of the most Google searches ever. Various female celebrities found themselves subjected to rumors that they could be Jay-Z's mistress, with Rihanna being a rumor, Rita Ora, and Rachel Roy among those who were at the center of this speculation. However, most denied it and distanced themselves from the scandal, leaving the identity of Becky a mystery to this day. According to an insider, Becky actually doesn't really exist, and Becky was just a combination of women. Music industry politics and controversy. Beyonce has faced criticism for her music industry politics and controversies, with some critics arguing that she has used her power and influence to sabotage other artists and further her own career. Back in 2014, Beyonce faced backlash for her surprise album release, which some argued was a deliberate attempt to overshadow other artists and dominate the music industry. Some critics have also accused Beyonce of using her connections in the music industry and influence to silence critics and suppress dissent. Now, for example, in 2016, Beyonce's team was accused of trying to silence critics who were speaking out against her music and performances. Beyonce's venture into country music, particularly her recent album Cowboy Carter, her album and performances sparked such a debate about her, countryness and whether a pop star could authentically cross into that genre. Some country radio stations initially refused to even play Beyonce's country songs, citing that they were just not country enough, which raised questions about systemic exclusion of black artists in country music. That's not the only album, though, that received a ton of criticism. Her Renaissance album did as well. Singer Robin Stone found out that her 90s house hit Show Me Love was sampled on Break My Soul, the lead single from Beyonce's album Renaissance, and at the same time as everyone else, she found that out. As the performer rather, than the writer and producer of the song, her approval wasn't actually required to clear its use, nor does she receive any income from it. So while Stone sees the nod as a compliment and proof of, her 30-year relevancy, it also brings up old wounds. The writers of the song, Alan George and Fred McFarlane, never gave her proper credit. She said, "That first note is mine. The ad-libs are all mine. I added flavor to it. They've been eating at my table, and I've been feeding their families for well over 30 years." Stone isn't the only artist, though, startled by the use of their music on Renaissance, Beyonce removed an interpolation, a kind of sampling that sees song excerpts, re-recorded and often reworked. That comes from Khaleesi's 2003 hit Milkshake from the song Energy, after the latter publicly criticized Beyonce for not having the common decency just to let her know that she was using it. As Khaleesi explained, the situation rehashed an alleged dispute with the track's credited songwriters Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo of the Neptunes, who she claims swindled her out of publishing rights for the two albums they made together. The discourse around Renaissance has opened up questions about the politics of sampling in modern pop. Today, sampling is a huge business. In the credits for the 16 track on Renaissance, there are nods to 17 other songs. Beyonce has tried pretty hard lately to stay out of the spotlight, and so aside from her recent country album Grammy win, not much new has happened to keep her on this hate train, but haters are gonna hate, right? Did Beyonce fake her pregnancy? When Beyonce was pregnant with daughter Blue Ivy Carter, so many rumors began spreading that she faked her pregnancy with a fake belly and had enlisted a surrogate to carry the child. A particular video, however, went insanely viral, like literally overnight. A video of Beyonce's high-definition interview with Australia's Sunday Night HD surfaced online. This interview would have been, on record as the most boring interview of all time, had it not been for the one moment at the start of the sit-down when Beyonce took a seat and her bump, did something entirely different and kind of unnatural. So to explain, when she sits down, you can see her stomach deflating and folding in on itself. The stills and slow-mos of the disappearing bump were circulated online as people questioned, what was happening? Now, was Beyonce wearing, different sized bellies to throw off the press as to how far along she was? Had she and Jay-Z, gone the surrogate route and her, deflating baby bump proved it? Or was it something else entirely that can or can't be so easily explained? Beyonce's publicist, Yvette Noel Schur, was quick with it. She shot down the conspiracy theories almost immediately, telling E! News that, websites, blogs, and rumors suggesting that Jay-Z's wife is wearing a prosthetic or otherwise faking her baby bump are simply foolish and outlandish. Beyonce addressed it literally only once, saying that was crazy. It wasn't even hurtful, it was just crazy. Where do they come up with this stuff? Meanwhile, her mother, Tina Knowles, took the talk very personally. She went on to say, I thought it was very unfair and very cruel that someone would think that someone would be that diabolical to keep up a charade like that for 9 months. As a mother, it was painful for me to hear the crazy rumors, and I even had people ask me, which was so ridiculous. The only thing they could say about why it looked like her belly folded is that it must have been the fabric. One critic online pointed out that Beyonce has been so secretive about her pregnancy, and that the only footage of her actually being pregnant was super grainy and not clear at all. Some fans, came to her defense saying that there was a pic of her on the beach, in a bikini, but honestly, the photo of her in the bikini, if she was pregnant, looked like she would have been about 4 months or less. So basically, people were saying, the photo doesn't actually prove that she was actually pregnant. There were just so many conspiracy theories regarding why she might be lying. Many people thought she didn't want to ruin her figure, by being pregnant. Some people suspected maybe she couldn't have children of her own, and some thought, her and Jay were maybe adopting. However, none of this truly mattered when her daughter was actually brought into the world. Blue Ivy was born at Lenox Hill Hospital in Manhattan, New York on January 7, 2012. Her and Jay actually reportedly bought out the whole floor at the hospital in order to have privacy, even making people who, were already there leave. But that's another story for another time. All in all, this whole circus made Beyonce a lot more open with her second pregnancy when she had twins Rumi and Sir. Personally, I think she didn't want the same, accusations and theories to surface again, so she kind of just said, y'all ain't playing with me today. You want a bump? Here it is. Is Beyonce lying about her age? There have been several moments that have made people question whether or not Beyonce is lying about her age. Matthew Knowles, her father, continues to use his daughter's name as a means, to staying newsworthy. This time though, it's adding fuel to the fire or to the rumor mill that the superstar is actually lying about her age. In an interview with Power 105.1's The Breakfast Club, Knowles, her father, says that Pink, the singer, is the exact same age as Beyonce. Pink, however, is 45 and Beyonce is, according to her, 43. Beyonce's age has been, a source of speculation for years, complete with alleged birth certificate leaks and, celebrity sources. Gabrielle Union, who is 9 years older than Beyonce, has said they were friends when they were teenagers, and apparently they even went to high school together. together, but the math ain't mathing there. You know, while the difference between Pink and Beyonce are only like a measly 2 years, by the time you're like closing down on 50, those years, you know, apparently seem to matter. So, you know, fudging the numbers early on makes it a little easier to simply stop at 43 and refuse to age any further. It's as if, you know, as a performer, you were to reach 50, you'd stop being considered for parts or shows, which, let's be honest, that isn't actually true in today's day and age, because just look at Jennifer Lopez. Like, she's in her 50s, she's still performing, headlining, you know what I mean? Or the other worry I would imagine most women up in age would be concerned about would be whether you'd be vilified for like gallivanting in a leotard or like a bodysuit, like a one piece, whatever scandalous type of outfit you might have worn in your 20s. Basically, you know, for being confident about your body. Taylor Swift does it, it's, you know, girl power, but if Madonna does it, it is like supposed to be shameful, you know? So at least that's how society wants us all to view it. Beyonce has lied many times about writing her own music. Beyonce has claimed to be, you know, the creative vision and songwriter behind some of her most successful songs, and there was no room for argument, you know, that she was one of the most talented singer-songwriters to be a part of the music industry, and still is. But when rumors began to swirl that there were holes in the stories Beyonce told about writing her music, fans were shocked. They wondered if Beyonce truly did write all the songs she claimed to, or if she was fabricating. Now, there have been several times when songwriters or celebrities have had negative things to say and called Beyonce out in the press for taking credit for being the creative force behind her songs that have become hits. This is not to say, you know, that the Run the World singer does not put her own spin vocally on tracks to take them places other artists could not, all while having an insane work ethic, but taking full credit for something that there was clearly a collaboration on led fans to do some digging. And when they did, they found several times when Beyonce claimed to be the sole writer or had the inspiration for a song, when that was clearly false. One person on Reddit actually rounded up like a number of examples, which include Emotions, which is actually a Bee Gees cover, Survivor, with the actual songwriter sued and settled out of court, Bow Down, which was allegedly written for Rihanna, Bootylicious, the demo was apparently near complete when, you know, it got to Destiny's Child, and one of Beyonce's biggest songs, Irreplaceable, which apparently was actually written by Neo. Now, what's funny about that one is that Beyonce went on to say, "I'm sure people think I wrote it about Jay-Z or something, but the obvious person is not the person at all." Several years later, though, Neo claimed to have penned the song himself. Had he not thought the song was too misogynistic, he explained he would have actually kept it for himself. He said, "That song taught me a very interesting lesson. Many women don't think that differently. However, a man singing it comes across a little mean." So, you know, with many discrepancies coming up in interviews over the years when Beyonce has claimed to be the driving force behind many of her hits, it is easy to see why fans wonder how much Beyonce has written herself, what she has collaborated on, and what songs were just written for her. There's no denying the talent Beyonce has, and no one is discrediting, you know, her vocal and performance abilities, but many fans and critics alike think that she should give all the credit, not just to herself. In fact, you know, it's just a song that maybe she's collabed on, with one person, you know, online even saying, unless Beyonce specifically came up with an idea for a song or contributed vocals to it, she should call herself an artist instead. Another person chimed in and said, "For some reason, we have this idea that singers have to also write their own music to be considered artists, but telling a story with your voice and entertaining people with your performance is a whole other skill set. I think at the end of the day, just give credit where it's due to avoid these type of, you know, controversies, or stay as low-key as possible and don't extend your part." Jay-Z and R. Kelly have worked together on 2 joint albums, Best of Both Worlds and Unfinished Business. They even went on tour together for the Best of Both Worlds tour, which was supposed to take place in 2002, but was pushed back to 2004 after allegations surfaced. Now, usually an artist working with another artist is not a cause for concern, but it is when the other artist is R. Kelly. So to give you some background, for more than 2 decades, chart-topping R&B singer R. Kelly had faced allegations of SA. Now, the accounts went back to the start of his career in the 1990s, with many centering on the predatory pursuit of young women. Now, in 1994, R. Kelly married Aaliyah, who was underage at the time, and Aaliyah lied about her age on the wedding certificate, listing herself as an adult. The marriage was annulled in February of 1995, but fast forward to 2002, Kelly was sued by Patrice Jones, a Chicago woman who claimed he got her pregnant when she was underage and she was forced to forego the pregnancy. Now, another woman by the name of Montina Woods also sued Kelly, alleging that he videotaped them being intimate without her knowledge. The recording was allegedly circulated on a tape sold by bootleggers under the title R. Kelly XXX. R. Kelly was was later charged with 21 counts of making essay videos. He immediately denied the charges and pleaded not guilty in court. Now, during the time all of this was going on, R. Kelly was out on bail, releasing music videos, and yes, going on tour with Jay-Z. Jay-Z knew what was happening, was aware of the accusations, and still decided to continue not only his professional relationship with Kelly, but also his personal. Now, they stayed close friends, and in an interview back then when it was happening, Jay-Z said, "If he's guilty, I hope he gets help. If he's innocent, I hope people stand by him and apologize." That didn't age well. Now, the singer settled both cases out of court, paying undisclosed sums in return for non-disclosure agreements. Now, in 2021, R. Kelly was convicted, and in 2022, he was jailed for 30 years after being found guilty of 8 counts of racketeering and other charges in a New York court. R. Kelly was very recently sentenced to an additional 20 years, and now with this coming up, it has drawn more attention to Jay-Z because many people have said Jay-Z is just as predatory as R. Kelly and did to Beyonce what Kelly did to Aaliyah. The only difference is that Jay hit it better. There's demand from several people online wanting Jay-Z's past to be more carefully looked at through another lens now, especially since he's at the center of a new essay lawsuit that involves Diddy. Foxy Brown, let's talk about it. It has been reported many times that Jay-Z had an inappropriate relationship with Foxy Brown. They met in the mid-90s and they began collaborating on music projects. Now, she was apparently very young when they met and he was in his 20s, and in 1995 they recorded a song together that was extremely inappropriate for a young woman to be recording. It was explicit, talked about intimate acts, and just wasn't something anyone should be privy to at that age. Fast forwarding to the fall of 2024, Foxy Brown addressed relationship rumors with Jay-Z in a series of Instagram story posts. So Foxy Brown attempted to debunk rumors that she and Jay-Z had an intimate relationship when she was younger. Brown initially posted and addressed a screenshot of a tweet alleging Jay made her sign an NDA, among other things, calling it fake news. She wrote, "Miss me with that fake news, NDA and an MF alive could stop my story." She then posted a screenshot of a YouTube video saying she's breaking her silence about Jay-Z and references one of her IG stories where she tells someone, "My story will shock you to your core. I don't play victim, but I had to step away for a minute for my sanity or I would have been gone. Stop playing with my name." She then added, "Comprehension is a lost art and y'all want me to be anti-host so bad." Rumors of their relationship actually date back to 2001 when rapper Nas mentioned their alleged relationship on his diss song Ether. Now, jumping forward to the recent allegations against Jay-Z and Diddy with the essay lawsuit from a Jane Doe, Foxy Brown appeared online again, suddenly weighing in on the accusations, sharing her Instagram stories saying, "Wow," and "Wait," with a shocked face emoji. Her third and final post was just a cold blue face emoji. Now, although Foxy has not confirmed that her posts are about Jay-Z and Diddy being accused of essaying a young woman at an MTV Video Music Awards party in 2000, many people are led to believe and speculate that it is, because at this point, what else would make Foxy react online that way? Bad business practices. Was Jay-Z writing bad checks? Well, in 2003, reports claim that 2 companies filed separate lawsuits against Jay-Z's nightclub that was named 4040 for a total of $46,000 in unpaid bills, claiming they received rubber checks from 21's Inc., which is Jay's company. Now, one company named Ronald Mark Associates was hired to create 30 custom tables that cost him $18,000. Apparently, Jay only put $5,000 down and the company was owed the rest, being about $13,000, but Jay never paid. Ron Berkowitz, a spokesperson for the Club 4040, downplayed the allegations, claiming that the bouncing checks are a burn wrap, whatever that means. It was reported that club employees were ducking phone calls, and that lawsuit was actually settled for about $1,114.59 to be exact on November 2nd, 2003. Jay-Z tried to counter countersue, saying the tables were not ready in time, so they weren't going to pay the full amount. Regardless, the West 25th Street nightclub 4040, which was actually named after baseball's biggest achievement, so players who hit 40 home runs and stole 40 bases in one season, survived and actually thrived. It has been a standout lounge with luxurious decor, sports memorabilia, and guests have enjoyed upscale bar cuisine and drinks. Now, unfortunately, if this has made you want to visit, think again, because after nearly 2 decades in business, in 2023, they closed its OG location. So many people actually believe that Jay-Z was the reason for them closing, saying his past has come back to bite him. But apparently that's not why. And although no real reason has been given to why they closed, they actually do plan to reopen at a new location in 2025, so keep your eyes peeled for that if overpriced pub food and underpoured drinks are your thing. Now, Jay-Z's love children. Yes, aside from the 3 offspring he shares with Beyonce, let's talk about the others that are not so loved. Back in 2010, rumors circulated that Jay-Z had hooked up with an adult film star named Jasmine Cashmere. A few months later, Jasmine's friend were spreading news of a pregnancy, saying that Jay was the father. Now, Jasmine actually took to Twitter to deny the accusation, saying, "No, I am not pregnant by Jay-Z or any rapper from New York." Jay-Z also made a public statement as well, saying that he and Jasmine had never even crossed paths. It was supposedly a friend, however, that tipped off the news, saying that Jay had paid Jasmine $2.5 million to just disappear. The news outlet, being the National Enquirer, was able to confirm that the star, being Jasmine, bought a new house around that exact same time. And no one has bothered Jay since the alleged payout, so is that a coincidence? I think not. There was another rumor that Jay-Z has another child with Trinidadian model Chanel Scott. Back in 2002, Jay and Chanel had an open relationship while she was actually seeing another man. And so it was assumed that her child was her boyfriend's, but as her son grew up, the man rejected him as his own because the boy looked nothing like him. He actually looked like Jay-Z. And after a paternity test confirmed that Jay is the father, he did step up and took responsibility. He bought Chanel and his son a nice home in Trinidad, gave them $1 million. He also pays child support monthly, so that's good. And so yeah, it's safe to say Beyonce knows about this one, as we all do now. And apparently they're actually still friends who keep in contact. She said Jay is a good father, and one of Chanel's friends said, you know, it was a big ol' mess at one time, but I think once they resolved the issue of fatherhood, paternity, things started to level off. Funny enough, representatives at the time for Jay-Z had actually come out and said initially, there's no truth to these ridiculous rumors. People should be ashamed of using this kind of story and exploiting a child for publicity and ratings. But wait, there's more. One of Jay-Z's former friends claimed in 2022 that Jay has a secret adult daughter that resides in a home that Jay-Z purchased for her in Cambridge, Maryland, and that he pays her bills but allegedly does not allow her to put pictures of him around her house as part of their deal. Her name is Letitia Macer, who is now 34 years old. Now, she came out and claimed she is Jay-Z's secret daughter and shows DNA proof to support her claims. Jay-Z apparently used to date her mom Lisa back in the day, and Letitia was born in the early 90s, which makes sense. Now, she was quoted saying, "I've been quiet for far too long. Join me as I tell you my story of living in the shadows of being Jay-Z's daughter in a city where everyone knew he was my father. There's no way he can deny anything, especially when there were people that were there that knew him." Lisa's sister Terry even wrote a Facebook post, like a story, saying, "I know the story from start to finish. I hooked your mother and father up years ago." She said her and Lisa actually called Jay up on the phone to tell him about his daughter Letitia, and his exact words were, "Do you know how many women call here daily and say Jay-Z the baby daddy?" Anyway, Letitia apparently spends her days posting old photos on Instagram and videos that are to convince the public that she is Jay's daughter. And so I went on to go do some digging because I wanted to see what her Instagram was all about. Firstly, let me tell you, her Instagram handle is at Jay-Z's first daughter. I don't know, I thought that was kind of funny. Like, if to the point was a person, it would be her. Now, anyway, Okay, I didn't get far because her account is set to private, which is odd considering her goal here, so womp womp, but maybe she'll accept my request to follow, and then I'll come back and I'll let you guys know what's going on there. Now, with all the recent controversies surrounding Jay-Z right now, it's reported she has more to say and doesn't plan on keeping quiet at all. Jay-Z and Diddy were once referred to as hip-hop royalty to this day, and despite all the controversies, many still give them that title. The rappers both rose to fame in the 90s and have maintained a very close friendship over the years. After both beating jail time in 1999 for their involvement in separate crimes, the duo are now facing more legal allegations. In 2024, a woman accused the rap legends of essaying her at a house party in 2000 when she was just a young woman. Now, both Combs and Jay have denied the allegations, but was the 1999 incident just a big red flag for worse to come? In December of 1999, Jay was arrested and charged with attacking Lance Rivera during a heated argument in a Manhattan nightclub. Lance is a record producer and music executive who began his musical career when he met neighborhood rapper Christopher Wallace, better known as Biggie Smalls. After hearing Biggie perform, Rivera offered to finance his musical career, and that opened the door to more connections in the industry. Jay-Z turned himself into the police for the incident and was placed under arrest before being released on $50,000 bail. Jay initially pleaded not guilty, but later copped out to third-degree battery in exchange for 3 years probation. In his 2010 book, Decoded, Jay spoke about the incident, admitting that he angrily approached Rivera but wasn't responsible for the attack. Now, fast forward to May 2023, Rivera said Jay was not the one who attacked him, telling DJ Vlad, "I don't know where people got Jay-Z attacked me from, because if anybody knows Jay-Z, Jay-Z's a nice guy." He went on to say, "I ended up getting surrounded by a bunch of people. It was probably like 10 weapons that I knew of, and I ended up getting hurt." Rivera confirmed that Jay-Z was there and that they had had a conversation right before he got hit in the head with a champagne bottle. Now, many fans have speculated whether Jay was really responsible or if Rivera lied back then, or is maybe lying now. Now, one friend at the party, Chris Scotti, he said that he thought Jay punched Rivera and was actually shocked to see it. However, many people think that Rivera is getting paid now to say Jay actually never did it, and that saying things like Jay is a really nice guy is a way to help Jay's image right now, since it's been quite damaged recently. So some people have even speculated that Jay's paid Rivera to say these things now. Rivera has said for the record that everyone who was there has a different story on what actually happened, but only me and Jay know what really went on. To me, that kind of leaves things unanswered. Like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't feel you though. Something is off, right? Now, fast forwarding back again to October 2024, going as Jane Doe, the woman previously mentioned, filed a lawsuit accusing Combs and an unnamed male celebrity of essaying her at a party. Now, 2 months later, the plaintiff amended the suit to include Jay-Z's name as the male celebrity who also essayed her. According to the revised lawsuit, the woman alleged that she began to feel lightheaded after consuming a drink at the party and went to lie down in a bedroom. Shortly after, the plaintiff claimed both Diddy and Jay entered the room and allegedly began to remove her clothing and held her down, while Combs allegedly essayed her as an unidentified female celebrity watched. Now, Jay aggressively denied the allegations he described as heinous, and on December 8th, 2024, writing a statement that the victim's attorney, Tony Busby, was trying to blackmail him with the lawsuit. This lawsuit has definitely brought up Jay's past lawsuit, and many people online have said we should have taken the first one as a red flag for more to come. Did you know Beyonce fired her father as her manager? Well, if you didn't, now you do. Beyonce is a diva, no doubt, and a lot of choices she's made has been questionable to say the least, but some have raised some alarm bells because many critics have looked at them as red flags, this one being no exception. Beyonce fired her father, Matthew Knowles, as her manager back in 2011. Now, Beyonce's father has overseen her career since she first auditioned for gigs as a kid and a teenager. Now, while the singles mother Tina was her stylist, Matthew managed his daughter's whole solo career in years, and as a member of her R&B group Destiny's Child. He even actually started the original girls group, which he named Girls Time, when she was just 8 years old. Now, Beyonce explained her decision at the time, saying that she was only ending their business relationship and that she still loved and was grateful to him. She said, "I grew up watching both he and my mother manage and own their own businesses. They were hardworking entrepreneurs, and I will continue to follow in their footsteps." Her father was accused, though, of stealing money from Beyonce by Live Nation, which was revealed in court documents in 2011. Now, these allegations prompted her legal team to conduct an audit in October of 2010, which apparently concluded Knowles had taken funds. Knowles denied the allegations and has requested a judge to ask Live Nation the rationale for its claim. The 60-year-old has suggested that promoter was trying to win a larger share of Beyonce's tour revenue. Knowles said he was replaced with a former Live Nation executive. Live Nation have reportedly declined to comment on the issue, and he denied the accusations, and he actually took his daughter's former concert promoter to court, claiming Live Nation soured his relationship with Beyonce by making false statements about him. Matthew insisted this was just a business decision and unrelated to the family drama. He went on to say, "We mutually agreed to part ways in terms of me managing Beyonce, as my focus is in the investment of Music World's Entertainment's growing gospel and inspirational music division. Because of the success of these artists, my focus has to be on gospel now." Beyonce's relationship with her father is also explored in her 2016 album Lemonade. In the section titled Accountability, Beyonce questions potential power struggles she may have had with her father. She also has a song called Daddy Lessons on the album, in which she sings about being taught how to be hardworking, or a hardworking young woman. Now, this whole incident caused many fans at the time to question the whole thing and wondered if this was a bad sign of Beyonce being too controlling, and it was labeled as a red flag, with one person saying, "Firing your father who has helped you skyrocket to stardom over accusations of theft is the biggest red flag I've ever seen in a long time. What would he need to steal for?" With another person saying, "Beyonce is an adult now and has had her father's opinions, and she has her own opinions now and the way she wants to do things. Her dad has always been controlling. This was a smart decision." Now, their relationship has been complicated, and he hasn't always been, perfect dad, father of the year, so many people have interpreted this in many different ways. But what are your guys' thoughts though? Beyonce's Ivy Park fashion line allegedly is produced in a sweatshop. This is a huge red flag because, well, unless you're unaware of how sweatshops operate, they're deeply inhumane and their practices are disgusting. Beyonce's much-hyped surprise collaboration with British clothing giant Topshop made headlines around the world when it launched. Topshop's website crashed as people rushed to purchase premium athleisure, with prices starting at $14 for sweatbands and going all the way up to $265 for a full-length color block bodysuit. Now, the clothing line was supposed to be a way to push a feel-good woman empowerment ethos and to de-emphasize perfectionism and to value strength over beauty, but the backlash was inevitable. A British tabloid newspaper named The Sun ran an expose describing the Sri Lankan garment workers making the range as sweatshop slaves, earning just 64 cents an hour. Now, reporters visited the site, and one sewing machine operator said that she was unable to survive on her basic wage of 18,500 rupees a month, which is about $126. The newspaper claimed average seamstresses earn about $7 a day and acknowledged that workers at the factory were still being paid above the legal minimum wage of 13,500 rupees a month. But what is being described by The Sun is that it looks like a severe case of exploitation bordering on slavery. The reporter highlighted particular concerns, including low pay and limits on the women's movements at night by locking them into their accommodation. Like, the workers reside on site and are subject to curfews, which is odd. A spokesperson for Ivy Park said, "Ivy Park has a rigorous ethical trading program. We are proud of our sustained efforts in terms of factory inspections and audits, and our teams worldwide work very closely with our suppliers and their factories to ensure compliance. We expect our suppliers to meet our code of conduct, and we support them in achieving these requirements." Beyonce hasn't directly spoken out, of course, about all of this, and it's caused a lot of concern from her fans. We are in 2024, girl. Time to start paying people better, am I right? A big red flag that has been brought up many times from Jay-Z and Beyonce's past is their big age gap. When we think of Hollywood power couples, we think of Jay-Z and Beyonce. In fact, the two have been together for so long at this point, it's like hard to remember a time they weren't. This leads to the question, though, of how long the two have actually been together and when exactly they started started dating. Now, the current age difference between the two now would actually not raise any red flags because she's 43 and he's 55, but the red flag was drawn years ago when the two met when Beyonce was just 18, which was probably somewhere between 1999 and 2000. Now, Jay-Z was 30 at the time, but Beyonce has spoken before about how the two stayed friends for a while before things turned romantic. She said in an interview with Oprah, "We were friends first for a year and a half before we went on any dates, and though the two would go on to marry, they actually waited until 2008. Not just because of their 12-year age difference, but because according to Beyonce, she told 17 magazine at the time, "I really don't believe that you will love the same thing at 20 as you do 30. So that was my rule. Before the age of 25, I would never get married. I feel like you have to get to know yourself, know what you want, spend some time by yourself, and be proud of who you are before you can share that with someone else." The power couple quickly began working together professionally, starting with Jay-Z's 2002 track Bonnie and Clyde, followed by Beyonce's smash hit Crazy in Love. As suggested by the song title, it was inspired by Beyonce's deep affection for Jay-Z. Their personal lives often influenced their music, becoming a reoccurring theme throughout their relationship. Now, however, they managed to keep their 2008 wedding ceremony completely private. Many fans have said they feel bad that Beyonce wasn't given a chance to date around and explore her options because she likely felt pressured into being with Jay, and because that's all she knows, that's why she stayed. Fans today have said that back in the day, age gaps were not talked about enough because they were so normalized, like not only in Hollywood but also just in society. And the reality, which might shock a lot of y'all, is that the age gap between Beyonce and Jay-Z is the same age gap between Mr. Kelly and Aaliyah. But no one wants to talk about that, and we won't get into how Jay-Z was initially going after Aaliyah. That's a story for another time. Now, the inconsistencies around the actual numbers have always been a hot topic though, because in 2007, in an interview with Charlie Rose, Jay-Z said he met Beyonce 10 years ago, which would have meant 1997. But Beyonce said she was 18 when they first met and 19 when they first started dating. Beyonce was born September 4th, 1981, so this would actually put their first encounter in late 1999 or early 2000s. Now, many fans have come out and said that Jay and Bey are definitely lying, and she was definitely underage when he was first pursuing her, and they've been doing nothing but lying about it for years to protect their images. Many fans have said she was groomed, and in a popular video that's been watched millions of times, you see Beyonce standing next to Jay saying, "You taught me how to be a woman, you taught me how to be a leader, you taught me how to be a friend, you've given me so much in life." Many people said that he should not have taught you how to be a woman, and that video was like giving predatory vibes.
Now, we all know that Jay-Z has been friends with Diddy for years. They became friends in the 90s and they collaborated on multiple projects together. They became two of the biggest names in the music industry as they each had their own labels. Diddy founded Bad Boy Entertainment, launched in 1993, and Jay-Z's Rockefeller Records, founded a year later. Now, surprisingly though, there was no rivalry among the two rappers, who remained supportive of each other's work. Now, from there, their bond just grew. After a photo of Diddy and Jay-Z chatting it up during his birthday party was showcased at the Rock and Roll of Hip Hop exhibition, Diddy opened up about his friendship with the fellow rapper and said, "That was one of my birthday parties and I was just telling him I appreciate him coming." He further added he was on tour and he flew in private after one of his shows just to come to the party, then he had to fly back out. "I was just telling him how much I appreciate it and how much I value our friendship. People see us as competitors and different icons in the hip hop game, but that was just a moment of two black brothers telling each other how much they appreciate each other." Their bond was strong, and Jay-Z even got Beyonce involved in the friendship. Now, the power couple would be seen at a bunch of Diddy's parties, where they would even debut some of their new music there. I mean, in the past couple of years, they were still praising each other in the public, as Diddy was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2022 BET Awards. Jay-Z paid a special tribute to him with a video. Now, with their friendship on full display, it shocked people that Jay-Z nor Beyonce spoke up when Diddy's houses were raided in March or when he was arrested in September. Now, some people called this out, like 50 Cent. He posted a picture of the rapper's face on a milk carton with the words "missing" on Instagram and added in the caption, "Anybody seen Jay? LOL," joking he ain't been answering his phone. Now, many people were waiting for Jay-Z to speak up, and because he didn't, people started to suspect suspect that he had something to do with the crimes Diddy committed. I mean, they partied and were together a lot. This would certainly be plausible. Now we finally got the answer on December 8th as Jay-Z was named in a refiled lawsuit against Diddy. Now, the general public knew about this lawsuit in October, but new details emerged that placed Jay-Z as a perpetrator of the crime committed alongside Diddy. The anonymous accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, said the incident happened after she was driven to an MTV Video Music Awards afterparty in the year 2000. After the awards, she was driven to a White House where she had to sign an NDA. There, she said she was offered a drink that made her feel woozy, lightheaded, and it felt like she needed to lie down, so she went into a room to rest. Shortly afterwards, the suit says Diddy and Jay-Z entered the room, with Diddy saying, "You're ready to party." That's when she alleges she was taken advantage of by both men, while an unnamed female celebrity watched. Now, could that female celebrity be Beyonce? Just maybe. Now, after the alleged incident, the suit says Jane Doe grabbed her clothes and left. She made her way to a gas station where she called her father. Now, this sounds extremely real, as a former party planner for Diddy, who worked for him during 2004 and 2005 and wished to remain anonymous, spoke to some news outlets about the disgraced musicians' parties. They stated that women attending these parties were subjected to weight checks. We would do a weigh-in if necessary. The girls had to be young and hot, so I always had a scale nearby in case I needed to make sure. The number was 140 pounds, but if a girl was really tall, there was a little bit of discretion involved, said the planner, adding that the other requirements included no flab, no cellulite, not overly pierced or tattooed, and no short hair. Now, seems like this Jane Doe fit the description of exactly what Diddy wanted. It was also revealed that Diddy would make people sign NDAs to attend his parties. A document released showed that guests were issued strict rules on discussing Diddy, his associates, and any activities or individuals present at his events. The NDA reportedly forbade guests from sharing any information about Diddy, his family members, current or former partners, or friends. Now, under the agreement, attendees were restricted from taking photos, filming, or recording anything at these events without his written consent. Now, something that makes these NDAs quite unique is that it's enforceable for either 70 years or the artist's lifetime plus an additional 20 years, whichever is longer. Now, this is a duration that is far exceeding standard NDAs. Now, Jay-Z was actually spotted the day after the lawsuit was filed. Jay attended the premiere of a movie with Beyonce where their daughter Blue Ivy voiced one of the characters. It was the first time Jay-Z had been spotted in public since the accusations, and sources with direct knowledge told the Post that before the allegations, it was rumored that Jay-Z and Beyonce were not planning on going to the premiere. However, they appear to have a change of heart after the lawsuit. Beyonce forced Jay-Z to go to the premiere last night, an insider told DailyMail.com. They're working with a crisis specialist who's advising them on how to handle this. Beyonce believes that the best way is to face it head on. Blue Ivy is well aware of what's going on and is intent on supporting her father in any way she can. She was there in solidarity with her dad and mom. Beyonce will do anything she can to keep their family together, but is also concerned that more women might come forward with lies. So it seems like Beyonce is standing with her husband, but this just makes her look really bad and even guilty. Like mentioned before, she had attended plenty of Diddy parties herself. Now, Beyonce and Jay-Z once attended one of Diddy's New Year's Eve parties, and the couple spent time with Diddy ringing in the new year of 2014 in Miami. Now, the weird thing is there are articles about them being there, but all the photos of the night have disappeared. Strange, right? Well, in one article, it said that Jay-Z and Beyonce were off in a corner dancing and greeting people, an insider said. Drake came with a posse of friends and took over the turntables, and T.I. and Jamie Foxx were chatting and hanging out during the event. Pharrell Williams was also in attendance, the source adds. Now, it was reported that Beyonce wasn't wearing any pants, and that some people say she was later seen in the swimming pool, looking dazed and confused. It's just strange all around, and the couple also attended the music mogul's 50th birthday party in 2019. But we've been told by insiders that these parties are not what they seem, and that a lot of messed up things happen at them. Former music industry insider Tom Swoop had attended a couple of the parties, and he shared with the public what would happen behind the scenes. He broke down how the parties worked for viewers and claimed that the parties were separated into tiers of access. There was general admission, then a series of tiers ending with entrance to the inner circle, where the real partying went on. Now, this allegedly included humiliating male male and female guests on the promise of record deals or money. Yeah, now why does this kind of sound like a cult or some sort of ritual? Ugh, I do not like it. Now Tom went on to say that there were a lot of substances present and that Diddy played a horrible so-called joke on a young artist. He said Diddy wanted the artist to do a certain act, and if he did it, Diddy would give him $100,000 and a record deal, before claiming it was a joke when the young artist was about to do it. Tom claimed Diddy told him, "I can make anybody do anything because this life is what they want, and I got the keys to the castle." Now Tom didn't like any of this though, so he left the party thinking, if this what goes on behind the curtain and you're all comfortable with this, nah, I don't want this life. He added there were so many celebrities there who were cool with who he was and what he did to entertain them. It's not isolated, he added. You all need to think of everybody when you think of him and the access and the amount of people who were there. So it seems like Jay-Z was cool with all this going on. But what about Beyonce?